All right. Well, I was sitting here talking to myself for the last 7 minutes. So I apologize for that. The My OBS had crashed and I didn't realize it. I was sitting here just yapping to myself, and I went to swap cameras and nothing was there because OBS died. So what the hell are you gonna do? So let's go ahead and run this back here real quick. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell happened. OBS does what it wants sometimes. All right, let's bounce back into this. So we have of course, we got the website up here. Hawked it a million different times. The the biggest thing that I wanted to show you guys is I don't do the greatest of jobs of getting the blogs up. As you can see, it's probably been like a month since I've done a blog, but I just highly recommend to actually go in here and look at these things and read them. Because there's a lot of information not only about myself but just process and all sorts of stuff. So if you're into inking tools and what I use, all that information is literally all here, and I have it linked up to everything. And then as well, just like if you're into, what inspires me and what keeps me kind of going, I got all that kind of stuff here as well. So a lot of information that's kind of out there floating around. So highly recommend to head over to my channel and check that out. And as I was saying earlier, and like I said, my OBS had crashed, so no idea what the hell happened there. But nonetheless, super, super excited here for this. Oh, clicked on the wrong thing here. All right, so if you guys aren't aware, I've been brought on to Steve Rude's stream, or just his team, I should say, not stream. Jesus Christ, if I could speak English today. So with this, I Steve has been on a talent search, kind of bring him in more young guns under his wing to kind of help him, do social media, help him outreach to a bunch of different channels he doesn't have connections to. Basically, trying to soup up his business and bringing in just younger talent and everything like that to help him kind of get along the way. I'm super excited to see what the future brings with Steve, and I'm definitely going to use it to my advantage. As everybody knows, Steve is my all-time favorite artist, so having that opportunity to work with Steve and see what happens there, I'm definitely going to use it to my advantage and get as much information and as practice from him as humanly possible. I've been talking to Janelle, wife, pretty much every day now for the past week and a half, and she's super sweet, super encouraging, and we're getting stuff done. And like I said, I'm super excited to see what happens because we've been spitting ideas at him, and as you guys know, it's like my brain doesn't stop. I'm a robot, so I'm constantly just like, hey, we should try this, we should try that. And as you guys also know, the Steve Rude outfit, which I kind of told her about yesterday, and she's heard about it before, but it's a kind of like an ongoing meme and kind of like the cartoonist kayfabe, our communities, about how Steve has never been seen wearing sleeves before, and that's kind of quoted the Steve Rude outfit. So they're aware of that now. So I'm trying to get them to lean into the memes. Love Steve, but it's like take you have to look at yourself a little bit and be able to laugh at yourself. And I think if they were like to lean into that a little bit, because he's so straight laced and so matter of fact, and if they were to kind of like spin it a little bit to where they lean into that, but in a satirical way, I think it'll play good for them. So yeah, so that brings me to my next point here. So as you guys have seen here, Steve is on his last day for his Kickstarter, so highly recommend to head over here and get that. If you're into process, books, zines, all that sorts of stuff, this is exactly what this is. Especially if you're a big Nexus fan. So I know Janelle has been hard at work designing this. So go over here, support them. And again, it's the last day. So if you're into that process sort of stuff, which I'm sure like a lot of you guys are, highly, highly, highly recommend to stop over to the Rude Dudes Patreon and Kickstarter here and go ahead and support the guy. Last day. Bring me to the next point. White Line Deadline is my book, and I started working on this early May, and I wrapped up the first issue probably about 5 weeks ago or so. I have been going into doing more issues and so on and so forth. It's gonna be a 4-part miniseries. I have the thing completely written. I had the thing completely thumbnailed, and I've started to do pages for the second issue, but kind of stopped because I have the anthology coming out. So the third anthology, hopefully I'll have it back in time from the printer. Like I'll have it designed and done and back from the printer, hopefully before this ends, or at least to the fact that I know what the book is going to look like and how many pages it is, that I can add it as an add-on. And then to everybody that's on Kickstarter, they'll be able to get it at a discount rather than, the standard $5 that I usually put on the anthologies. I think that's fair. So I'll probably put it at like a $3 or $4 price point so that way you can get a discount if you do support it directly through the Kickstarter. So I'll have that. I already have the 2 anthologies on there for add-ons. I have T-shirts, I have stickers, all sorts of stuff. So super excited for this. And like I said, it's going to be launching tomorrow at around 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So we're just about 14 hours away now from seeing this bad boy go up. Right now, we got the variant from Brandon Paul, we got the variant from David Omar Lopez, and we got the variant from Russell Brown. And I just have 2 pages up, but once you actually see the campaign, I probably have like 10 pinups from people, all sorts of goodies that are going to be on this, and I think everybody's going to be, just excited, and then as well just kind of be like, oh shit, like this dude has been putting in work. So yeah, can't wait for it, but that is going to be tomorrow. Let's go ahead and start taking a look here at some books. So I've gone through and just started collecting all sorts of different things here for the haul part of the stream, and I think we got a pretty good amount here. And I finally got around to hanging up the print that I bought from Eddie Pecan, the Flavor Flav print. Then I got my Don Simpson print over here, and my Jim Mahfood original. So finally got around to hanging those up from when I picked them up at Eddie Pecan. So speaking of Kickstarters, this was a Kickstarter for Don Simpson's Megaton Man Multi-Mentions. Basically, it's like an anthology from a bunch of different creators doing their spin on Megaton Man characters, or they're like interacting with their own characters with Megaton Man stuff. So we were just kind of on the topic of process zines. Don is one of my favorite cartoonists. The dude can draw like nobody's business. In my opinion, I think he is the best letterer in comics. Like nobody touches him. Not only is it because it's all done by hand, but it is extremely difficult to make lettering and to tell that, oh, that's who lettered it, because that's what you're doing, right? You're just lettering things, so it's really hard to show personality through your lettering. And anytime somebody were to show me his lettering, it's like, oh, that's Don Simpson. Like you can just tell like that. So pretty crazy stuff. And this was put together by Eli Schwab of Cosmic Lion fame, of course. And this is just kind of a process of the actual book, which we're going to be taking a look at here in a second. One of the things that I want to talk about, though, I kind of want to get on my soapbox a little bit. So doing things like this, I think is kind of like, should be frowned upon. There's a couple of books as well that I picked up from Eddie Pecan where people were labeling their stuff with like kayfabe and putting like the Outlaw logo on their books and everything like that. Like, stop doing stuff like this, because I think it's kind of fanboy in a way. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I wear the kayfabe dudes on my sleeve every day of my fucking life. I don't think there's a day that goes by where I don't think about kayfabe or talk about kayfabe. But you need to be your own person and your own personality, especially in comics. And when you're constantly like labeling, and this is like a thing that comes from wrestling, I think, you know what I mean? It's like when you're chopping somebody and the whole crowd is yelling woo, they're not thinking about you, they're thinking about Ric Flair, and that's a problem. Same thing with this. They're thinking about kayfabe, they're not thinking about your comics. So just think about things like that, folks. So yeah, just really cool little processing that came with the Kickstarter if you got it at that tier. And then, of course, this is an original penciled piece. It's blue line. You probably can't tell. But, yeah, just a little pencil sketch that I got from Don as well. And then this is something, if I can get it out. It's like, man, that's in there good. Pop. There we go. So this guy is the Megaton Anatomy poster that Jim Rugg did, and it's all curled up still. I gotta put it in a frame. But of course, Jim Rugg, we're just talking about kayfabe, one of my favorite cartoonists, and we got some signatures from Don and Jim right down there. So we got that poster. Stick this back in the old tube here. And I gotta get a frame for this yet. Typically, I don't frame prints for the most part. Usually, I only frame like original art and everything like that. But the old Jim Rugg, you gotta hang it up. Alright, let's take a look at the actual book itself that was a part of the Kickstarter. So, this bad boy here, get my chat pulled up here in front of me. So this bad boy here is the book. So I don't know how this is going to show because it's oversized. But like I was saying earlier, it is an anthology, so there's just a bunch of different people that worked on this book. So basically every page, every other page is done by a different artist. Really cool stuff to see. Obviously, I'm a big fan of anthologies, clearly, because I make my own as well. And I think that you can get this through Cosmic Lion. I could be wrong, but that's who published it. So if you wanted to see if you can go pick this anthology, this Megaton Man anthology up from Eli, it might be available there. Otherwise, you might be able to get it directly through Don at like the cons. This got a little confusing because they had 2 campaigns going at the same time, and this is a pinup done by Bissett. Kind of cool. You don't see that every day, like Bissett out there doing stuff. So, brand new pinup there. Looks like it was actually done in '88. So, it's an older pinup, but never before seen. What I wanted to show you guys, in particular, once I find it here. I think I passed it. But Grant Lankard, as I've done streams with him before in the past, we've done comics together in the past, and he's in here. And I just wanted to show off his work because his Kickstarter, here it is, his most recent Kickstarter, these guys right here, those were his characters. So seeing them kind of interacting with, interacting with Megaton Man characters is kind of crazy. So shout out to Grant, love you, brother. Met him at ADP Con as well. He's also a Pittsburgh cat. That's where Don's from, so I'm sure that's kind of where, they ended up making comics together. But yeah, if you're not into Megaton Man, you should be. Basically, it's kind of like a parody comic on superheroes. So if you're kind of sick of superhero comics and you kind of want to like laugh at them a little bit, Megaton Man is the way to go. And then, of course, Brat Pack by Rick Veitch. I could not recommend that comic enough. So, again, if you're into superhero comics, but you're kind of getting sick of them, definitely check out Brat Pack. That's, like, the golden standard, I think, for those style of books. Let's take a look at this first. Alright, so Los Angeles Ink Stains by Jim Mahfood. So I bought this from West Coast Dave. And this is something that's been on my list for a long time, and I haven't been able to find it. Finally was able to snag one from Dave. But these are Jim Mahfood's autobiographical comics. So that's literally what it is. They're just autobiographical comics. Kind of early in his career, I would say. I think this came out in like 2010, so it's about 15 years old or so. But definitely his work has gotten a lot better over time, because I think that it's just kind of a mess. Like, there's way too much going on these pages, and like the amount of lettering that's on every page, you kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit. But I definitely look forward to sitting through and reading all of this, and then as well just like some crazy photos in here from like him partying back in the day, hanging out with people. I think that's the fun part about the book, is like seeing things like this, like young pictures of Jim kind of out there hanging out. And at one point in time, Jim had a an afro. So seeing I don't think there's any pictures of that in here, but you can find him on the internet of him promoting, some of the first stuff that he's done and back in the day when homie was out there hustling. So shout out to Jim. I also met Jim in Pittsburgh. Super good dude. And as well, he's part of Ink Pulp, so highly recommend to head over to their over to their Discord and their YouTube channel, hit them up, and tell them that Sam sent you. And it was good hanging out with Jim in Pittsburgh, and I hope that we get to do it again next year. So love you, Jim. Let's take a look at this. Some Spirit. So as you guys know, I'm a big fan of anything Kitchen Sink Comics. They put out these Will Eisner Spirit magazines. They reprinted a bunch of them. They also ended up doing some of these in color as well. My very first art mentor, Ray, had worked on this book, so he was the design assistant on it. He was the art director at Kitchen Sink during this time. It may have been a little before he started to do that. When did this come out? Oh, has this got a date on it? Let's see. Yeah, 82. So right before he took over, I think he took over in 85 and was like 85 to like 90, 98 or something. He did like 12, 13 years there, roughly. So highly recommend, anything Spirit, obviously anything Will Eisner. I always say that Will Eisner draws the best eyes in comics. I can say, though, that you do see some things like this where it's like, ooh, voodoo in Manhattan. And you look at drawings like this, and it's like, okay, that's a little questionable. You know what I mean? It's definitely not in good taste, and I don't think it ages very well, clearly. But what are you going to do, man? These comics came out in the 30s and the 40s, and that's just the way that the things were, so. But yeah, cannot recommend the Spirit enough. So go pick up more Spirit and read more Spirit, folks. I'm big into back issue, like I'm sure that a lot of you guys are. This is the most recent one from this month. I picked it up because there's a big Madman thing in here. I'm gonna shut this off so it stops glaring, or turn it down. There, a little better. Um, so this, it has a big, like I said, Madman part in here. So just tons and tons and tons of all red information, drawings, work in progress, raw pages, just raw scans like this. So if you're into all red, I highly recommend to track down this newest issue of Back Issue. Especially if you're into that nerdy stuff. There was something else that was in here. Oh yeah, this Madballs stuff. So if you're a toy collector, like I am, Madballs is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, especially the horror themed stuff. So shout out to Madballs. It's good to see that it's getting some love, especially the comics in here. And there's also some Mad Love stuff in here. Like right out here at the beginning, they talk about the Mad Love story with Harley and Joker. So cannot go wrong. Recommend to go pick up this thing a Back Issue. Gonna take a look at some normal size stuff here real quick. All right, so we have Space Ghost number 3. They relaunched Space Ghost. I'm not entirely sure why. I think the story that they had going on was great, but hey, what are you gonna do? Comic books, folks, they're always gonna roll it back to number 1 and get you to buy more copies. It's kind of how it rolls, right? So, but it's the same exact team. Nothing had changed there in that respect. Everybody stayed on board, which good. And the best way I can frame these comics with like how the aesthetic is, it's basically the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. That's like just the aesthetics, like lens flares, all that kind of stuff. So if you did not read that run that came out last year, I think they put out 2 trades for it. So definitely go pick those up and read those. Highly recommend them. I haven't had a chance to sit down and actually read any of these 3 issues of Space Ghost that have come out. Kind of put them on the back burner because like they did the 12 issues last year, and I've just been busy doing other things and reading other things. So it's kind of where I was sitting at. But like I said, it's the same creative team, so I'm sure they're good comics. They certainly look the same. All right, folks, we got to talk about Archie. So I'm a big Archie fan, especially the Sabrina stuff. And, the Halloween Spectacular, anytime they do these Halloween issues, I always pick them up. Or anytime they do just holiday specials in general, I always grab them. I don't know why, but like the holiday specials that Archie puts out, I'm always just a big fan of. And of course, we got some Sabrina action in here, so have to pick that up and uh, just all for the Sabrina stuff. I've already read this, and this is actually a pretty good holiday issue. The thing with Archie's though, man, they're getting pricey. Like this book was $5, and they did a issue of Archie meets Jay and Silent Bob, and I want to say they were selling that book for like $8. Fuck that. Too expensive for a comic, especially for a standard floppy. It's not even a small press, it's Archie. Okay, so I didn't even ask for this, and this was put into my poll box. Not too sure there. I am a big fan of Master of the Universe. Like I have a whole display set up in my living room of Snake Mountain, and I got a bunch of figures up there. I have pretty much every vehicle except for Trax. That's the only one I don't have. But Rotor, the Wind Sail, all that stuff. I have all of them. I do not have Eternia. I had the opportunity to buy an original one, but didn't pull the trigger on it, and it was on a deal, actually, and I probably should have, but, I didn't. I'm going to turn this off so it stops reflecting. So this is the same team that was doing those Turtles of Grayskull books, which was incredible. So Freddie Williams, the dude is on another planet with his artwork. He does pencils, inks, everything like that. So he's doing the Joe Kubert model, which I greatly appreciate. And like I said, the dude just lives on another planet. He did a couple of runs of just the IDW TMNT stuff. But dude, like his art is just crazy good. Like check this out. He's insanely good. He's probably like one of the better cartoonists out there right now. Because his art is unique, and especially in the digital age, everybody kind of looks the same. So good for him. And one of the things that I don't know if they did in this one, it doesn't look like they did. But the Turtle of Grayskull books, they would put his penciled pages in the back and kind of like his process. Kind of wish they did that with these, but if you guys don't have those Turtle of Grayskull books, I highly recommend to get them because they're actually good comics. And not only that, but the toy line was also incredible. So if you're into Motu and into Turtles and you don't have any of the Turtles of Grayskull stuff, highly recommend to track some of that down and collect it. Which brings me to my next point. This was also in my pull box and I didn't ask for it, and it's also another Masters of the Universe thing. But I'm not complaining. I did not see who was on this book. Adriana Mello, and we got Giuliano Paratelli, I guess. And Enworld Design did the lettering, so it looks like they shopped it out to a company. But yeah, this looks fine. It kind of looks just like a standard superhero-y kind of art style comic. But again, I'm real into Motu. I honestly don't know how I feel about the live-action movie that's going to be coming out here in the near future. Kind of skeptical about it. The one they did with Dolph Lundgren in the, what was that, like late 80s, early 90s when they put that out. I have a soft spot for it, obviously. It's not a good movie, but I still have a soft spot for it. I'm kind of curious how they end up doing Orko in the new movie and how they end up playing that out. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. Good stuff. Take a drinky here. All right. So Savage Dragon and Turtles. I think I have the second issue of this, and the creative team on this. So it was written by Eric Larson, and then Michael Dooney had done all the art for it. Robert Jones inked it. This is honestly a pretty cool book. Like I said, I think I have the second issue of this. I think they did. Yeah, I think they did like 2 or 3 issues of like this crossover. But it's good to see because, you know, this came out in the 90s and it's still on uncoated paper. So having that kind of like vintage newspapery feel to it, I think goes a long way with how the coloring looks, because if this was on, you know, your standard glossy paper that everybody was doing at the time, especially Image, it would have been overkill with the amount of color that's on here. And using that uncoated paper really dials down the, you know, the vibrancy of everything, gives it a warmer tone. And I think that fits perfectly with the Turtles comic. I was laughing at this earlier, this Stupid Heroes, when I was kind of flipping through it before the stream. Just terrible. Like, the digital art on this is so bad. Like, it looks like somebody just got a computer, which, I mean, you know, this is the start of digital art in general, but it looks like, you know, like a 12-year-old kid got a hold of a computer and decided to draw up a comic. Kind of what it reminded me of. And then the Flaming Carrot Turtles crossover, of course. Shout out to Bob Burden. I have a bunch of those as well. And those are also some pretty good books. But yeah, I was finally able to track this one down, so shout out to Savage Dragon, the all-time best action comic. If you've never read Savage Dragon, you are wrong, and you need to go just pick up any issue and just start reading it, because it's good stuff from start to finish. It doesn't matter where you pick up, because if you've ever read Savage Dragon before, the comics are the fastest paced comics you'll ever read. So it's like storylines come and go within an issue or two. So you can pick up at any point and just go. It's always just random guy shows up, Savage Dragon beats his ass. Random guy shows up, Savage Dragon beats his ass. It's kind of the the flow of a Savage Dragon comic. All right. So some Kitchen Sink Underground anthology goodness. Death Rattle. So this is one that I did not have. I think this is the very last Death Rattle I needed to track down. Good old number 8. Xenozoic Tales. So of course, Mark Schultz fame. My first art mentor, Ray, which we talked about earlier, he had worked on the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, which is what Mark Schultz had done after the fact. After this, and it's basically the same. It's literally the same thing. So you still got the cars, and then they flipped it from Xenozoic Tales to Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, which there was a cartoon of for like a season or two. Capcom put out, man, was it a Super Nintendo game for Cadillacs and Dinosaurs? But my original art mentor, he colored those books. So shout out to Ray. I don't know what happened to Ray. I think he like fell off the face of the planet or something, because like the last like 6 months to maybe even longer than that, I have not heard from him. He was teaching art down at the Trout Museum downtown here in town, and they actually expanded that museum, and it's like an entire block now in the city. It's kind of crazy actually, and they're going to be opening that up soon, so I'm kind of excited to see like what the museum gallery looks like and everything, the art museum. But yeah, just good old Xenozoic Tales, and like I said, this is just, you know, anthology stuff. Death Rattle is kind of hit or miss. Usually it's pretty good, especially if you're into just weird, obscure black and white comics. But this issue, it's very Mark Schultz focused, so what are you going to do? And this is the crown jewel of the haul. I'm going to break this out of its case here. Bag and board, whatever you want to say. Check this bad boy out, folks. I'm going to put it on the full. Give me a second here. All right, check this thing out. Got to be real careful opening this so I don't rip it. Come on. Give me a second here. I'm trying to get this open. Why is it doing that? There we go. Yeah, for some reason I could not get this thing undone. All right. So, this is a original Marvel Superheroes poster. Picked up from West Coast Dave. Obviously huge fan of everything that's on here. And what's cool about this poster is each individual one of those characters is basically drawn by the typical artist at the time that was drawing those books. So it's kind of like a cool collage of a bunch of characters in different art styles and everything. So it's like you got Mike Zeck on here for the Punisher. Hell yeah, dude! It's just crazy stuff, and of course it's like I'll try to put this underneath the camera and see what it looks like here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to because it's so wide. But I'll try to show it off a little bit. But yeah, it's just crazy stuff, though. I think I paid like $20 for this poster, and it's just one of those things that you never see. And as you guys know, as collectors, it's like when you see stuff like this, like you just don't sleep on it. And you gotta grab it. I'm not one of those guys that like freaks out about, you know, like values and what it's going to be worth and stuff like that, because that's not why I collect. I collect because I love comics. But if you see things that you never seen before and they're not super expensive, it's like you probably should grab them and add them to your collection. Get this thing boxed back up here. Yeah, this poster will not fold up. It does not fold up very well. I am currently working on the third anthology book. I have 4.5 pages done. I pretty much have the whole 5th page penciled currently, and I'm probably gonna ink it and screen tone it tonight. So we're doing underground stuff. So one of the things that inspired me to do my story is this Johnny Ryan book, Fat Cop. If you guys are into underground stuff, which like I'm sure a lot of you are, especially if you're watching my videos, this is probably one of the most just off the wall things I've ever read in my entire life. Every page you look at it and you don't even know how to react. Like it literally like sucks the air out of the room, and you just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just kind of like you look at it and it's just like you want to go take a shower. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to describe it. You just feel dirty reading it. I am not showing any of this, and I will tell you that right now. Like I might be able to like maybe show a page. So it's like this is the first stuff, and like this is pretty tame. All right, so like here's a kid, you know, he's spray painting on a grave, and then he takes a picture of it, thinks it's funny. Skating away, cop shows up, grabs him, and this cop just starts beating the shit out of this kid. And literally leaves him for dead. So, just crazy stuff. Like, let me see what's on this next page. Yeah, like this. So, here's Fat Cop. He's, you know, he kills this kid. He just sits on him and his eyeballs pop out, first of all. So then, now he's going to the Arby's. He's gonna go get a, you know, whatever, a cheese sandwich or something. Taking a dump, watching porn while he's taking a dump. Lady walks in, to the restaurant, gets mugged for her purse, gets stabbed, and then in her wound, he starts licking it. So you see what I get at? It's like every page is like this, and you're just like, what is even going on? Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure the rest of this I'm not gonna show. Like this is pretty tame. So it's like just literally just shows this lady just killing herself, and then he grabs her body and just drags it off, and then does what he does with it. You know what I mean? It's like I said, like you read this book and you just want to take a shower. Um, and I know what happens after this lady pulls up, and I'm for sure not showing that. Um, yeah, this book is nuts. That's all I'll say, and it inspired me to do my story for from the anthology. Um, so there's two things that inspired it. First of all, obviously, it was this book. I was just talking about that. The other thing, when I was driving to Pittsburgh, I saw a billboard for like a vet or something, animal hospital. I don't remember, but it was advertising about like getting your fat cat like checked up on at the vet, like making go on a diet, that kind of thing. And I'm like, man, for whatever reason, like fat cats, uh, are funny, and that, and I'm like, what can I do with that premise of like a fat cat? And then I'm like, how do we spin that into an underground thing? And then I just got done reading this right before I went to Eddie Pecan. So I'm like, how do I take like a Johnny Ryan, like Fat Cop comic, and then turn it into, you know, my own thing, and kind of mixing it into that billboard that I saw. I don't know why, but it just stuck with me. And when I was driving, I thought about it and it clicked. I'm like, boom, I can have a comic and call it Fat Pussy. And but PHAT, and it's literally it's gonna be like, I'm sure you guys have heard like the old wives' tale of like if you play with it, it's gonna fall off or you're gonna go blind. Like if you play with yourself, like that whole thing that you would hear, like old wives' tales, like I said. So it's a play on that, but it's a woman instead. So it's like you're playing with it, it's gonna fall off. So at the beginning of the thing, like I wrote like a nursery tale, basically about that. Like, my dad always said if you play with yourself, it would fall off and blah blah blah. So like the very first page, she plays with herself, and then her vagina literally pops off her body and gets a mind of its own. And it starts out small, clearly, and then it just starts eating everything it can see. So it's like it's just grabbing stuff and just shoving it in, and it starts growing and growing and growing and growing to the point to where it's kaiju, Godzilla size, and it's stomping through the city, and the military's coming in and shooting at it and stuff. Like the story that I'm making is batshit crazy. Like it really is, and like I said, it is very much inspired by this. Um, Nothing as intense as what goes on in this book, but it's definitely inspired by it. It's more of just like a dumb throwaway, story about a kaiju vagina just kind of stomping around in the city, 'cause that's what I'm doing. But um, very much inspired by Fat Cop. So Johnny Ryan's one of my favorite cartoonists, and if you guys are unfamiliar with him, that's kind of his whole shtick. Is he just takes things to the most extreme that's humanly possible, and that's just how he kind of rolls. He did a series called Shouldn't You Be Working? When he worked in a call center, he would sit and draw what he thought like the customers looked like that he was speaking to, and it's funny. It's just a funny book, and there's probably like five of those that Fantagraphics put out, and they're just nonsense drawings of what he thought the customers sounded or what they would look like when he was talking to him over the phone. So it's kind of funny, because especially if you do call center work, customer service work, and all that sorts of stuff. Like you see his drawings, and then if you ever done that kind of work, like you can envision like, yep, he hit the nail right on the head. Like that's exactly what that dude would have looked like. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I cannot recommend Johnny Ryan enough. And like I said, if you're into underground books and you do not own this, in my opinion, this is a must-own book, and it's probably like one of my favorite comics I've ever read. It's fucked up. It makes you feel disgusting reading it, but that's why I love underground. So what the hell are you gonna do? So if it's not for the faint of heart, it is definitely not somebody who is you know, whatever you want to say. So, what are you gonna do, fat cop? Pick it up. Oh, what we got for time? All right. Let's see if I have anything else here. I'm pretty sure everything that we've already talked about before in the past, so I don't think there's really anything else here that's new. Let's see. Here, let's do this. I'll show you guys. Alright, so here are some raw pages. I'll just share this to you guys, my faithful supporters. This is page number 1 for Fat Pussy. As you can see, there is one here. And I'm going to be putting text up here. I haven't got around to it yet, to lettering this page. I got to do it in white. Kind of a pain in the ass, you know, doing white on black hand lettering, but I'm going to do it nonetheless. So like the little nursery tale rhyme that I was talking about earlier, about where the whole book kind of comes into play, the story behind the book, and how, you know, the fat pussy detaches itself from the woman. And then boom, we roll into page number 2 here. So you can see it's like, oh, it's all nice and it's sleeping away. And then, you know, Sabrina was feeling horny, touched her fat pussy that day. Her fat pussy was activated. It's like, I'm alive, I'm wiggling and free. It's time to leave this broad and get something to eat. Like the first handful of pages rhyme because I thought it was funny. I don't know. It's like, time to hit the streets like a cop on the beat. Fuck, I'm hungry. I don't know what to eat. And it's like, what's that? A duck quacking across the street? It's like, time for my vaginal suck, and then like literally just fucking sucks in this duck like Kirby style. Those are the 2 that I'll show you, and you can use your imagination for what else goes on, but it gets nuts. Like, there's points that, you know, it's like, we got a call in the Navy, like, what's going on? It's like the government's, you know, getting in on it, trying to take down the kaiju. It's just nonsense. Like, obviously, like I said, you guys are into that kind of stuff, and so am I, and that's why you're here. So, what are you gonna do? With that being said, let's go ahead and get this up here one last time. Give me a moment here. All right, so before we wrap it up here for the night, because I still have to eat yet, and then as well I have more pages to get to here. White Line Deadline is going to be dropping tomorrow. Again, I have the whole thing thumbnailed, I have the whole thing written in terms of all 4 of the issues. The first issue that's here on Kickstarter, that thing is done. D-O-N-E. It is done, and it has been for like 5 weeks because I'm a robot, and I'm literally just standing by for like 2 or 3 pinups to actually slot into the book. The design is completely finished. Everything is done. Like I literally just have like 3 blank pages waiting to just drop in art into it. And then I'm gonna, you know, use the funding to print the book, and then as well, because I'm not a fucking scumlord like other people are, I'm paying people, so you know, got to make sure I'm compensating the people that are helping me sell the book, right? And it's like Russell, for instance, he colored my front cover here, for the A variant, and guess what? I paid him. Imagine that. I don't know, man. I still have a fucking chip on my shoulder about that kind of stuff. It's like, if people are, especially if they're doing covers for you, and covers are designed to sell the book. That is the point of the cover. And it's like, if you're not compensating those people in any way, and especially if they're doing like even more work in the internals of the book and they're not being compensated, you are wrong and you are a part of the problem. And that's all I got to really say about that. So all my boys here, you know, make sure I take care of you guys, get you your comp copies and everything like that, so that way you can also sell, you know, the work that you did with it and everything like that. There will be packages for add-ons that will include all of the variants, There'll be retail tiers. There'll be tons of add-ons. I'm probably gonna put up a poll tonight on YouTube and let it sit for a couple of days and see how it does. I'm contemplating putting up pages for the book up on Kickstarter and selling them that way. If not, also just putting in like original art and seeing how that does. Um, because I have a binder full and I've run out of pages, like free pages in my binder to put art in. So I need to start selling more and more original art. So I'm thinking about putting them up on the Kickstarter to get more eyes on it. So I'll put a poll out probably on YouTube at some point after the stream and see what everybody's feelers are about buying original art and everything like that. Because I'm not going to go through the time on creating new items, add-ons, and so on and so forth if nobody's going to actually pull the trigger on that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, tons of add-ons, and then as well, the stretch goals are going to be pretty cool. Um, there's going to be an exclusive backer gift to everybody that does back it. You know, it's just a fun little novelty thing that I thought of, and I'm super excited to start getting to work on those. I'm not going to give away exactly what it is. I want people to get their packages and kind of be like, of course, that's what the backer gift was. You know what I mean? It's like you're never going to guess what it is. I think there's one person, Russell Brown, who we're looking at his cover right now. I think he's the only person on planet Earth that knows what I'm doing for my Kickstarter backer gift. And when I told him what it was, he was like, you know, that's what did he say? He was like, that's savage or whatever. He had said something like that, like diabolical. It's like, you what is the book about? And then just kind of like think about that for a second. It's about trafficking coke. So like, what can I put in there to kind of be that theme? So it's like, let your gears spin a little bit and think about that. And then once you get the book and then you open up that package and you see what the exclusive gift was, you'll be like, all right, Sam, I see what you're doing here. But yeah, like I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm a part of Steve Rude's team now, part of his creative team. So he brought me on to help him, promote stuff, help out getting just more young talent and helping him kind of progress forward in 2025. Super excited to be part of this team, and it's like I've been making comics for less than a year, and it's like I've already done all the steps in like a robot and I don't stop working, and like it's paying off. Like people are noticing and it's paying off. So if for those of you guys that are out there listening and it's like, and you want to make comics or you're wanting to make comics, and you haven't made the dive yet, it's like you have to put the work in, and you just have to believe in what you're doing and believe in yourself, and you can't be held back by thinking like, oh, it's not good, people aren't gonna like it, this and that. It's like, who cares what other people think? First of all, it's like I'll be the first one to tell you, it's like, especially with the kind of books that I make, it's like, who cares? It's like, do what you want, be happy doing what you're doing. That's what really matters at the end of the day. But if you want to make something out of it, it is possible. It's like living proof. You're looking right at it. This is living proof, folks. It's like last year, early February, it's like I was watching kayfabe and it's like, boom, I want to make comic books. And then I started drawing every day, practicing every day, taking lessons, went to SVS, investing in myself, investing, practice. Here we are. So it's like you just have to put your nose to the grindstone and just go. So make sure that you're putting in the time. If that's whatever you want to do in your life, you just have to put in the work. So when the campaign goes up tomorrow, like I said, there's going to be probably, I think there's like 5 or 6 pages that are up there. I just have the 2 currently here in the preview. This page right here is a fun page, because like what happens before this is actually a true story. So when you guys, once you get the books and read it, what happens right before this page, it happened in real life, and I was there, and it was batshit crazy. Not like to a T, because obviously I had to change it a little bit because it really didn't make sense for the story, but like the actual acts that happened in there, true as can be. All I gotta say is that I had a friend that absolutely hated pickles, and I'll leave it at that. So Good stuff, man. But yeah, so what I was getting at is Steve Rude, he has his Nexus process book up currently for his new Nexus book that's going to be coming out. So if you're into process, script, pencils, inking, all that kind of stuff, today is the last day for his Kickstarter. So be sure that you're going over there and helping the dude. I also shared the Discord link. I think it was yesterday or the day before. A bunch of people had jumped into the Discord and joined up there. And then as well, the Rude Dude Patreon, be sure to go over there. It is free to join. And then I think there's a couple of tiers that he has. So you can slot yourself into any of those tiers, but we're trying to build up Steve's Patreon as well. So any of the support that you could also throw towards Steve, and like I said, it's completely free. So if you're already on Patreon, find Steve Rude. Just go ahead and follow the page. That way, we can get more eyes on the stuff that we're doing over there. Because like I said, he's bringing on a bunch of people to help him out. I think right now there's like 4 or 5 of us, but they're hoping to get to like 11 people on the team. So everybody kind of has their own functions. I'm kind of helping out with like YouTube promotion, the live streams, the content creation, like more of that side of things. There's somebody who's like doing all the Patreon focused stuff, getting the posts up there, making sure everything's going good there. And we've been throwing ideas back and forth about, hey, Steve should be doing this. We should try that. We should try this. We should try that. So a lot of creative energy is getting thrown in that direction. And I think that once we kind of get into the groove of things, like his channel is gonna take off, and I'm super excited to be a part of it. Again, Steve Rude's my all-time favorite, and the fact that I've only been making actual comics for about 10 months now, is just nuts to me. I never have drawn prior to last year, and then I've been drawing for almost 2 years now, about 1 year and 10 months. So hey man, like I said, you just got to put in the work and you'll get there. Proof is in the pudding. So I do everything by hand. This is the only comic that I've ever did digital lettering on, because there's just so much text and dialogue. Like I would have killed myself doing it by hand. Everything else I always do by hand, but for this guy, I ended up doing digital lettering for it. So, but yeah, man, super excited to see how this turns out. Again, it's going to be going up tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So look forward to that. And all the add-ons and everything like that are going to be super cool as the campaign is going on. I'm probably going to add more add-ons. Probably the third anthology is going to get added as an add-on. Maybe some original art, some original pages. See how that goes. But this thing's been fleshed out. Don't worry. Like I was saying earlier, the book is done. I'm just waiting for pinups. As soon as this thing is funded and I get the money from Kickstarter, like the thing's going to the printer. Like I'm not fucking around with people and their time. So you're in the right place. You're gonna be getting the right dude to deliver. So you can ask anybody who's done work with me in the past. I'm quick. I'm poignant. I always will give you updates. I will let you know what's going on. If I need something, I will let you know. That's the reputation that I currently have, and I'm going to continue to hold that. Everybody knows me as a workhorse, and everybody knows me as a man of my word. So that's what I gotta say, man. Like I said, this thing is done, and you're not gonna be sitting around for 8 months waiting for a book. Like the campaign's gonna end, and you're gonna have that thing in your hands hopefully within a month, if not less than that. Completely depends on the printer. And then as well, like once that thing actually is done and it comes out, obviously it's gonna be like holiday time roughly. So shipping might be a little slow in terms of like it coming to you, but I'm not messing around. Like I'm gonna get everything boxed up, printed, labels done, and then I'm getting them shipped out. If you are somebody who is gonna be buying, like I'm gonna do a digital version, a PDF version, just be aware that I am not gonna be sending any PDFs out until I have all of my hard copied books out, because I don't think that's fair. Because the PDFs are instant. You'll just have access to them right away. So as soon as that last book leaves my house, the PDF is going straight up and you guys will be able to download it and get it from there. But yeah, like I said, it's done. I'm waiting for like 2 or 3 pinups from people, slot those into the book, and the thing is completely finished, like 100% now at that point. Everything's done on my end. Anthology, 4.5 pages done out of the 10, and Like I said, I already started drawing for issue number 2 here. I'm doing 4 issues. The fourth issue is going to be expanded. So each issue is going to be 28 pages, and then the last issue is probably going to be around like 45 pages roughly. It kind of depends on if I end up cutting anything or not, which I don't think I am, but that's kind of where I'm at. So, with that being said, we're going to wrap up here. It's been about an hour. My throat's getting scratchy from talking all day. That's what I do for my day job, and that's what I'm doing here. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, and I'm going to go do my thing and make some more comics. So with that being said, go make some more comics. And last thing, James Foster, Nerdy Musings podcast. I am going to be on his show on the 13th. We already recorded it a couple weeks ago, so that's in the can to promote the book. I'm going to be on Laura Marshall's stream and show at some point here in the next couple of weeks. The Ink Pulp dudes are going to be promoting the book here as well. Now, West Coast Dave has been promoting my book, so like there's a bunch of people in the community that are rallying behind this, and they want it to be successful. So anything that you guys can do to help me out, that would be greatly appreciated. Share it on all your socials. Let everybody know that it's out there, and I'm hoping that it's successful, and we can continue to make more of these. So I guess I'll see you guys in the morning when this bad boy launches. I hope you have a good rest of your week, and